Hi, I'm gonna be showing you how to stretch watercolor paper on stretching frames, stretching frames, alright? Which are these, So I'm gonna be first, you can buy these in shops by pieces. To measurements that you want, but then it could go up to as much as 48 inches. Usually these things are used by oil painters, rather as opposed to watercoloring. But my technique, I use this because I do a lot of wet on wet techniques. So the very first thing is to assemble the necessary measured stretching frames. Okay. I'm going to be using a 8-inch and 11-inch. This is just right for our demonstration washes later on. So the very first part is to prepare watercolor paper. Why is it so important for you to stretch watercolor paper? It's to reduce the wrinkles. Basically, what are you going to be doing here? Okay, assemble the picture frame. Okay, let's put that aside for a minute. Is to stretch this. What's going to happen here is we're going to be wetting the paper, and then probably later on we're going to be mounting it on the stretching frame, right? Basically it's going to expand, and we're going to make it into as tight as a drum. Okay, so for this demo I'm going to be using a water sprayer, right? It's very simple, very cheap, usually used for orchid plants or ironing clothes. Okay, so okay, first determine the center points or the center lines of the edges, so that we have this aligned paper. Okay, this is slightly bigger than the frame, about 1 inch more. Okay, so meaning it's about 9 by 12 inches. So basically, to have a perfect center line is to fold it a bit and such, right? On all sides. Okay. But not to just be careful not to fold it all the way to the middle, right? So you got creases there, right? And so, and you can mark it up with pencils, right? Just to know where the center lines are, right? So there you go. So my preparation is I already marked up the center lines of this, so you have this nice aligned with the frame. So you just mark it up there. It's an ordinary ruler. Just divide it into 2 equal parts, and you have the center line there, which is there. You mark it up in all sides, of course. Center line for this there. Alright, here we go. The very first thing is to wet. Okay, usually what I do is I dip this entire paper, the watercolor paper, into water for 3 minutes. But for our demonstration, if you can't do that, this is a advisable method of doing it. Okay. Alright, the pencil marks there. So what we need here is trick here is to you can just do wet only one side. We're spraying clear water. There you go. So what you do here is you wait for around 3 minutes for it to for the water to be absorbed into the paper. Okay, what's happening here is, as you can see, it's kind of wrinkling. Yeah, it's basically stretching, or the paper is expanding. It's similar to your if you keep your hand in the water for a long time, your skin expands, and if it expands, I mean, you could see wrinkles in it, right? So it's the same thing here. Right now, it's stretching, it's expanding by 3 to 5 millimeters on each side, and all right, okay, we're just gonna fast track this. But for a proper stretching technique or method, you usually wait longer than what I'm going to be doing. So anyway, we're gonna put this down there. Okay, we know that we have marks up on where the center lines are. So basically, I'm going to be doing is aligning them first, to have this perfect center onto this stretching frame. Alright. Okay. So I'm going to be using a staple gun, right? One of these heavy duty. You can have them in any hardware store. And we're going to be stapling one side first, right? And then proceed on the other side. Pull that a bit. Right. So I'm just securing first the midpoints of the edges. There we go. So I'm just going to be finishing up with stapling the edge. Okay, you notice that sometimes it's not perfect, but later on this is going to disappear, the crease here, once the paper starts shrinking. For the edges, cleaner side here, so fold these things. So there we have it, preparation for stretching the watercolor paper. Okay, just let this dry. My advice is try stretching watercolor paper the night before you start using it, and it's a good way, just to make sure that everything's dry when you start washing. Okay, I guess that ends in how to properly stretch watercolor paper, how to stretching crayons.